I bet. One of Suffolk's most historic buildings is being given a facelift by getting a lick of lime wash. The exterior of the 16th century Lavenham Guildhall is traditionally restored using this East Anglian technique. Now, there have been plenty of friendly and helpful robots on our screens over the years. C-3PO and R2-D2 from Star Wars, of course, or perhaps K9 in Doctor Who.
I remember him. Well, until now, boffins have never been able to actually create a robot that responds to human emotion. But now scientists at the University of Hertfordshire reckon they've made a breakthrough, as Martin Stew reports.
At 3.5, Jasmine Leach from Longstanton is learning new ways to communicate and play every day. Robots like Now can copy Jasmine's moves and be programmed to imitate her actions. But what they can't do is love.
Hello. Oh, big cuddle. Baby. Oh.
Baby.
However, thanks to pioneering work at Hertfordshire University, Now is the first robot in the world who's sensitive to others' emotions and can express his own.
Anger. Fear. Sadness. Happiness. Excitement. Pride.
Now's able to make an emotional reaction to just what I do. For example, if I'm unpleasant, like a firm tap on the head, he's instantly scared and defends himself. But then if I'm nice to him, there we go, a little, good now, there we go, come on, and the arm should come up. And if I look him in the face, he's happy, fantastic. It's all done using a clever mixture of cameras and sensors which recognise behaviour, allowing Now to form attachments, interact and express emotion just like a child would. So as Jasmine and the other girls learn spatial awareness through play and puzzles, Now learns coordination through interaction with humans.
Well, we want robots that can be companion to people, that stimulate them, interact with them in a natural way, entertain them, eventually later on help them as well.
The idea is for the robots to eventually act as companions to children or the elderly who are isolated or in hospital. Jasmine's mum, Michelle Leach, works as a nursery nurse at Addenbrooke's Hospital and thinks any affection, even robotic, is a good thing.
It'd be fantastic, especially ones that are keeping all their emotions in. They'd be able to relate to the robot and maybe give it a cuddle where they feel that they can confide in someone else. They could just express their emotions. It'd really be great.
Just like mother and daughter, the more time Now spends with people, the more he'll learn and bond, and the more he'll become like you and me.
Goodbye. Martin Stew, Anglia tonight. Hatfield.
I'm very excited about that.
I'm not surprised he was scared at Martin Stew.
I know.
Fancy him tapping him on the head like that.
Oh, my boys would like that.
Anyway, right, moving on. Most of us like decking out our homes with the latest mod cons, but one man in Cambridgeshire enjoys doing the exact opposite. In fact, he's living in somewhat of a time warp.
Ben Sampson from Godmanchester is obsessed with the 1940s. So much so, he's kitted out his house with original 40s furniture, a gas mask and even an original outside toilet. Stuart Leeds has been to meet him.
He's a man who leads an extraordinary double life. Ben Sansom spends half of his time in the 1940s and the other half in the 21st century. The 32-year-old has transformed his house in Godmanchester near Huntingdon to give it the look of a home 70 years ago.
I think the 40s particularly, it's, despite the hardships, it was really Britain at its best. You know, people had different values, more patriotic, you know, they looked after king and country and your next door neighbour, whereas now I think people are, the elderly, that generation that fought, sometimes too scared to walk down the street because of yobs and things. And I just think, you know, it's a totally different England.
Ben's lounge is like a snapshot from the 1940s. He's meticulously gathered items from the period. And his kitchen is also full of original products. There's even an outside toilet in the back garden. At night, he sleeps in a 40s time warp, and many of the photos are authentic images of his ancestors.
If we don't pass on to the next generation what our grandparents went through, the history will die out. And I think it's so important, after losing our World War I veterans last year, that we do remember sacrifices made back then.
Ben was first featured on Anglia News back in 1994, when he was just 15 years old. At the time, it was the shed at his parents' house in Huntingdon that he decked out with 1940s memorabilia. Do you think when you were 15 people thought you might grow out of it? Do you see this now as a lifetime thing?
I'm afraid so. I think so, yeah. I mean, people used to say when you're a teenager, oh, you'll grow out of the 40s, but, you know, nearly 20 years on, I'm still very much into the 40s, and I think it'll be with me for life.
At home, then, Ben can escape to a bygone era, but he also knows he can time travel back to 2010 just by stepping out through his own front door. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News, Godmanchester.
I think Ben really suits that look,
He does,
actually.
doesn't he? I mean, it takes a lot of dedication, particularly to try and keep away all those mod cons, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Lovely home.
Yeah. Well, that reminds us, there's more of archive-type material on our website.
Yeah, we're travelling back 25 years when hula hooping was making a bit of a comeback, and there was a new arrival in the dolphin pool at Whipsnade Zoo.
We were also still moaning about the state of the trains, and there was a new skydiving record set over the skies of Cambridgeshire.
That's the news from 1985, all available at itv.com/Anglia.
Now, the news from today from the national team in London is...
That's just in a few minutes' time. Had a lot of rain today, actually, didn't we,
Certainly
in
have.
places? Yeah, good for the gardens, that's what I say. Here's Amanda Houston with all the details.
Well, that's it from Tuesday night's Anglia Tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.